It's February the 9th, 9:39. Just capturing and recording this first trade of the day. Just went long the XIV. VIX here broke down. What we had this morning was a bit of a gap up, right to yesterday's highs. So that's what it looks like on the VIX. On the ES, we have a gap to the downside. Yet again, the bottoms held here from yesterday's lows. So I saw a setup on the XIV. So right now, long the XIV at 1686. Took the high of this bar here and bought the next bar. I like that strength there. And you know, a good play at this point is to see a gap fill. Yesterday the VIX, now that we're looking at the XIV, we have unfilled gap here on the XIV at 1730, which places us right here. Just draw that a little more clearly here. 1730, which I think is a logical place for it to go. And that would give us approximately a plus 2 R return if it hits there. So at this point we're in management mode, so let's give it some time to work itself out. Well, we have a stop underneath at this point here at 1658. So we have a lot of wiggle room here for this guy to move in our favor. Some news, the JOLTS is coming out at 10 o'clock. So expect that to move the market a little bit, but should not be, I don't think, significant, just based upon where our stop is, well below the opening range low. If it moves down there, then we're clearly in the wrong on this trade. So 941 long the XIV at 1686. It's 10:01. Quick update on this trade. The JOLTS number just came out, inconsequential to the markets at this time. Really no reaction. If anything, it's bouncing up a little bit here now. And this is what we're looking at. So just to back things up a bit, you know, on the XIV, on the bigger time frame, we had a gap down this morning right into the opening range low, and the lows from yesterday's session. It basically found support there, as you can see here. Another significant item here is that we draw on yesterday's Fibonacci's. It opens up right around the 127.2 extension. So you know, this is a good level of support now. And so what we've seen here now is that the buyers pretty much stepped in right away, right from the get-go. We had some pre-market selling, got to these levels, and then you know we had some indecision, and you can see here now it just popped. So looks like we're going to get this gap fill unless some sellers step in and try to fade it, which is possible. But right now we have quite a bit of strength. This is exactly what I wanted to see here. We drew this trend line down. We saw the volume basically slowing down and really easing up, and I was looking for that pop in volume to the upside here. So that's very productive. So my exits here at 1730, I'm looking for that gap fill play, but right now I'm going to adjust my stop to plus 1R, so I moved to plus 2R right on the dot there. 1726 is the high of the day. That's where my plus 2R target was. I'm going to move my stop down to 1705 now, and the least we're going to make on this trade now is plus 1R with a little bit of slippage if it goes down to that area, likely. Okay, so we've locked in plus 1R regardless. Now we're really looking for this thing to move to 1730 for the gap fill. Now there's a possibility that it goes even higher than that. There's actually an unfilled gap on the XIV at 1816, which is all the way up here. So we'll just draw it in now. You know, it's quite a fair ways away still. So, but it's worth just kind of documenting that. Let's see how it plays out over the next 1 or 2 sessions. So let's wait and see now. Got my limit order waiting here at 1730 for the gap fill play, and then it's possible that it goes even further if they can clear this area here around the 1750 mark. Then you know there's a chance it lifts even further, but that's, you know, further away, one thing at a time. Let's watch how price action deals with this 1726 range, which is now the opening range high. And let's see how the other instruments are now doing. So we can see here 1724, 1726 is the opening range high. We need to see that guy break. If it breaks, I think you have more upside. On the ES, that's very productive here. So at this point, there's nothing that's indicating it's slowing down. Yesterday's opening range high here is 1852, so you have a little bit more upside there. Potential. Then it has to break through that, right? Then we need to see it actually break through those levels. Otherwise, that could act as a sticky point. Because pretty much for today right now, it's an inside day, right? So it's 10:04 right now. We're currently in inside day, but if it can break through, and it's trying to do that right now, 1852. There we go, 1853. So if it can break through this area here, 1852.25, and close above that, then that's very productive. So let's draw that in there and make that little air resistance. And so I'm calling for a quick trade today. Going for the 1730 fill, and we'll reset and go from there. 10:05. Alright, just got filled on my gap fill play for plus 2-ish R, plus 2.25 R. I think it's going to keep going. I elected to play the gap fill this morning, lock in some quick profits, and proceed to the next trade. So, it's definitely possible that it continues to run higher here. The strength is, the momentum is in the direction of the upside right now. So there's nothing really at this moment indicating that it's going to slow down. So I think there's an ability to squeeze out some more profits here if you wanted to trail your stop. But again, I elected to go for the quick gap fill. We see here on the ES, as we were talking before, that 1525 area, it's still battling this, right? So we want to see a close above this 1520 to 1852.25 area before we can say, yeah, the coast is clear. So we need 5 more minutes for that to happen. And on an intraday chart, or lower time frame chart, on the 2-minute on the ES, we had a good run up here, right? So there's really some good strength on the buyer side. What they're holding it back here is that the volume is it's beginning to decline a bit. As you can see here, the volume has not picked up substantially for the buyers. So not a lot of conviction. So for the most part, we're still talking about an inside day today, even though it did break up above the highs. It did not hold above those. So we'll get a few more minutes to see where it goes. At this point, my trade is wrapped up. I took that easy trade. That was easy money on the table. So I like to start my day that way with an easy trade, and then reset and go from there. So 10:11. I'll keep the recording going. Let's see where it takes us. Hey guys, it's now 10:32. Just a final update for the morning session, or the first hour of the session. And then I'm going to wrap up this video and keep it short. But the 1852.25 mark, that was a strong level of resistance. As we indicated, we really needed to show a close above that area of resistance, right? And it could not do that. So as we said before, if it's not able to break above that, we'd probably see some sellers, and in fact that's what we saw. And the sellers quickly overran the buyers, and it happens all the time, right? This is why people get trapped, because they're not watching the right things. If we take a look at the ES on a on a 2-minute chart for a second, what you really see here is that you have declining volume here. We had a bit of a bump up here when it had a bit of a breakout, and again I'll show you the XIV in a few moments. Selling came in pretty quickly right there at the top there, and then we've had a downtrend since. Now you have guys actually buying this. Literally, there are people who are who think that this is the next leg up. They're buying, and then they're hoping that it's going to do something like this, right? They're hoping that it goes down, then it comes back up here, and it's going to go up higher. But clearly, this is a poor setup for a lot of people, and they got trapped. So once this area here broke, this level of resistance here, support there broke, and you can argue this is even a head and shoulders type of pattern there. Once this area broke down, we're going to see some more selling here now. So this all coincides with the opening range high. This is why I watch the opening range high very, very closely. Now that opening range high was a very, very strong area of resistance, especially since it maps to yesterday's opening range high as well. And that was really the, the level of resistance the market needed to overcome to go higher. So the XIV trade, we played that one pretty well. Got out at 1730, and same predicament here, right? So once this bar closes, and again this is the 10 o'clock bar, 10:15 bar, excuse me, it actually forms a narrow range bar there, right? So a break below that narrow range bar, as you've seen here. Once that breaks below, the selling will accelerate, and that's what we're seeing here now. So we have some accelerated selling as as the lows of this bar break, and the people who went long this bar thinking it was going to go higher probably laid their stops below this, and now they're getting stopped out in this area here. So on the 2-minute chart, this is how we played it, and we see the exact same pattern here, right? So here's that kind of head and shoulders pattern that broke down. What I liked here was that they had increasing volume. That helped us here, right? So this pop in volume helped us get filled at 1730, but then the selling quickly picked up, right? And this is very, very bearish here as you begin to have these consolidation bars. And then once these lows get broken, then the selling it's really up for grabs now, as the control is now rested over to the sellers, and they quickly overwhelm the buyers here. Again, you have folks who literally they're buying this, right? They're buying that high there, thinking that it's going to do some sort of pullback, followed by some sort of a continuation. But that's a poor signal, a very poor signal, and it breaks down. So I'm not saying that the market cannot go higher later this session, but right now all indications are that we have a continuation to the downside in the intermediate term. So this thing I would expect to come back into this range here again. But we had a good trending day yesterday, right? So this could certainly be one of those choppy inside days, which is one reason why I took my profits early in the morning, because after a nice smooth trending day, it's quite uncommon to have back-to-back trending days. That's fairly uncommon. So this is classic price action now, where you're simply consolidating within yesterday's price range and forming that inside day. But the day's still young, so anything is possible. But for now, I'm sitting on a +2-ish hour gain, and I'm only going to be looking for quality opportunities moving on forward. All right, 10:37. Good trading so far.